Hello and good afternoon. Hello and welcome to part 2 of Peace Corps International Speaker Series for English educators in Cambodia, Sri Lanka, and Thailand. I am Grace Shin, Programming and Training Specialist for Peace Corps in Thailand. I'll be your host today, and I'm so glad to see that so many have joined us. This is a chance for us to come together, to connect and grow. The series is a span of 3 days, starting from yesterday and continuing to tomorrow, at the same time through the same Zoom link. Before we proceed, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge and thank the planning committee who made this happen. We include Peace Corps Cambodia, Lisa, Director of Programming and Training, Sun Kim, Programming Manager, Peace Corps Sri Lanka, Gina, Director of Programming and Training, Priyanka, Training Manager, and Peace Corps Thailand, Michelle, Director of Programming and Training, Mim, Programming Manager. Please note that our colleagues from Sri Lanka will be leading the tech support for this session. If you have tech issues, please reach out to them for any of us on the planning committee for support. Our goal for the series is to share international best practice, connections, and support in English language education for a Peace Corps stakeholder and counterpart. We hope that you find this session and series to be an encouragement to you as you navigate the importance of your roles as educators during challenging times. Our speakers include international experts and will be speaking to a range of topics. Yesterday, Louise Van Ladis, the Director of Programming and Training for Peace Corps in Vietnam, spoke on the power and opportunity of creative writing in challenging times. Today, Dr. Pragasit Sitthitikul, Professor at Thammasat University in Thailand, will be speaking on the importance of critical thinking in the pandemic. And tomorrow, Peace Corps Global Education expert Rob Bradley will be speaking on teaching in the time of COVID, sharing strategies for online learning. A bit about the format of this session and what is expected and how to participate. Agenda will include insight and teaching from our speaker. Please be sure to mute your mic and use the chat feature to ask questions and connect with one another. The agenda also includes the breakout later in the session and provide a chance for us to connect in smaller groups and discuss what we are learning. Please use your camera and mic to participate. We will come back to the large group here to conclude and share handouts and file for you to keep after the session. Finally, we want to acknowledge the participation for those who attend 3 sessions. Each day, there will be a short survey at the end of the session. This will help us for the planning future event for you. On Wednesday, the survey will allow you to indicate if you have attended all 3 days and wish to receive a certificate. The certificate will be given out in the mid of November. Now let's try a quick poll. We're curious to see who's here. We have around 500 people on the call today. Gina, could you please bring out the first poll for today? For our mobile application, you can look below. There's a tab for poll. You can click on poll for you to be able to do this poll. Wow, a lot of people from Cambodia, Thailand, and Sri Lanka. And a lot of English teacher. Please try to respond to the poll.
okay, it seemed to slow down and we're at about 54%.
Some people can't find the poll on their mobile. I think it's at the bottom, lower part of your screen.
I think we got 57%.
So should I share at this point, because it seems like that's about all we're going to get?
Sure, Gina. Thank you. So it seems like a lot of you are from Cambodia, Thailand, and Sri Lanka, and from the United States, and mostly are English teachers. Thank you for joining us today. And it's my honor to introduce our speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Pragasit Sitthitikul, a full-time lecturer of Language Institute at Thammasat University in Thailand. He has extensive experience in language and literacy and strong interest in cognitive and social cultural factors in second language learning. Dr. Pragasit, over to you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Grace, for the nice introduction. Sawasdee krap, greetings from Bangkok, Thailand. Thank you, Peace Corps organization, for inviting me as a guest speaker today. I'm very happy that many of you joined this session, and I hope that you will find this session helpful and useful in your career. The topic of my talk is critical thinking in the pandemic. Okay, let's first of all, let's start with the warm-up question. Okay, on the screen, which of the following questions requires the most amount of critical thinking to answer? What do you think? You can, okay, answer in the chat box. Oh, sorry, you can't, right? Okay, which one do you think, okay, you require? D, okay, okay. Which one do you think is the easiest one? A, explain the difference between, okay, a rectangle and a pentagon. Sorry, just one. Okay, B, what is a triangle? And C, find the area of the triangle. And D, why is geometry more difficult than algebra? Why do you think this is the most difficult? Because to answer this question, it requires, okay, you, okay, to give a reason, right? That's why it is important, okay, to know which question is more demanding than others. So today, okay, the focus of my talk today is that first I will talk about definitions of critical thinking and why is critical thinking important. And next, I hope that you have heard of Bloom's, okay, taxonomic level in cognitive domain. And lastly, I'm going to talk about activities that promote critical thinking skills. So first, what is critical thinking? Critical thinking is one of the 4 C's in language learning. Okay, I will explain more what the 4 C's are, okay? And it is one of the valuable thinking skills our students will need in the future, okay? And to think critically about an issue or problem means to analyze, okay? The word analyze is very important for critical thinking. You have to be able to analyze from many viewpoints and perspectives with an open mind. The process requires that we analyze evidence to think through issues and challenges before coming to solutions. So once we have the problem, okay, we have to think and then we come or arrive at a solution. So this is very important. We are thinking critically, maybe we don't get a good solution to solve the problem. The forces that I mentioned earlier, okay, the first one, okay, is critical thinking. You can see that when we learn a language, okay, of course, the main purpose is for communication. But in the 21st century learning, critical thinking is one of the 4 important components besides communication, collaboration, and creativity. That's why this topic is very important, and teachers should try to promote critical thinking skills, okay, for their students. The definition, okay, gave by many scholars. So here I'm going to give you some examples. William Huitt in 1998 defines critical thinking as the disciplined mental activity of evaluating arguments or propositions and making judgments that can guide the development of beliefs and taking action. Lippmann and Perkins believe in a systems approach to thinking skills instruction. They suggest the need to infuse thinking skills instruction into all subjects at all grade levels. Infuse here means integrate. Okay, when we talk about critical thinking skills, it doesn't mean that we have to promote, okay, this skill in only other subject matters, not English. Actually, English language is also important, okay, to include critical thinking skill for our students and at any grade level. Kasem in 2001, okay, suggests comprehensive school-wide model with 4 component steps. And these steps are: the model should provide thoughtful classrooms, okay, and the model makes thinking visible and explicit and clear. C, the model guides and supports student thinking and integrates instruction on thinking into subject matter learning. So this means that the classroom these days should try to promote our students to think independently and critically. Okay, if we do not promote this skill, the outcomes will be that most students will become passive learners. For example, in Thailand, okay, I can tell you because I have been teaching in Thailand for more than 20 years. And I find that Thai students are passive. One reason is that, okay, teacher asks closed questions, okay? We do not ask many open-ended questions. So that's why they just select the choice to answer the questions. Questioning technique is very important, which I'm going to focus on today. And many studies show that based on Bloom's taxonomic levels, the instructional focus for most students are on knowledge and comprehension. As you may know, okay, Bloom's taxonomy, okay, there are 6 levels, which I will explain, okay, a little bit later. It consists of 6 levels, okay, starting from the low levels to more advanced levels. If we know, okay, the definition of each level based on Bloom's taxonomy, we will know that when we ask questions, we should try to combine, okay, the low-level thinking skills with the high-order thinking skill questions. This is very important. Questioning technique is very important for teachers to use appropriately in the classroom. And today I'm going to introduce a very effective and well-known, okay, teaching technique, okay, to you, okay, that will promote asking thought-provoking questions to your students. And you know that when we analyze exam questions, okay, let me say in Thailand, okay, when we look at the exam test questions, most of them fall on knowledge and comprehension level, which are regarded as low thinking skills. Okay, that's why it is important to know, okay, 6 different levels based on Bloom's taxonomy. But for many good students, okay, they can understand, they can get a lot of information and relationships with greater ease, with more comfort, and thus should be invest more time and effort into the higher level activities of application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. So you can see that, okay, based on Bloom taxonomy, starting from knowledge level, moving to comprehension, and then application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. The first two, okay, knowledge and comprehension levels are regarded as low-level thinking skills, whereas higher level thinking skills start from application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. So for language teachers, the development and practice of critical thinking fits wonderfully in most communicative language teaching curricula. So that means, okay, we can apply the concept of Bloom's taxonomy, okay, into English, okay, curriculum. For language teachers, the development and practice of critical thinking fits wonderfully, okay, as I told you, in most communicative language teaching curricula. All the four language skills can easily be activated when students are asked to research a topic, discuss or debate that topic with peers, and write about what they find. Okay, you can easily, okay, implement, okay, a small activity like assigning them, okay, to research a topic of their interest, and then they have to discuss what they find, and they can debate, okay. Some may agree or disagree with the findings. Okay, this one common technique that you can use. And these activities don't require high levels of English proficiency. Okay, that means we can use this activity to promote critical thinking skill for students with different levels, not only for high levels of English proficiency students. Students even at lower intermediate levels can conduct basic research and have meaningful discussions with peers about real issues. So from this, you can see that, okay, the keywords, okay, are, for example, discuss, debates, okay, and research. Okay, now I'd like to talk about Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, I'm sure that, okay, most of you know about this, but let me revisit, okay, this concept one more time. Bloom's taxonomy is a hierarchical model that categorizes learning objectives into varying or different levels of complexity, from basic knowledge and comprehension to advanced evaluation and creation. Bloom's taxonomy was originally published in 1956. This is the original version, okay? And in 2001, Bloom's initial taxonomy in cognitive domain was revised. And here comes the modified version of Bloom's taxonomy in 2001. I'd like to show you, okay, the Bloom's taxonomy in 1956, okay, starting from knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. The first two, okay, knowledge and comprehension, are considered as low-level thinking skills, whereas application is the borderline between low and high, okay, but it is considered as higher order thinking skills, starting from application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. This is the old version of Bloom's taxonomy. But for the modified version, okay, or revised version in 2001, knowledge becomes remembering, comprehension becomes understanding, application becomes applying, analysis becomes analyzing, synthesis, okay, no synthesis in the revised version, but it becomes evaluating, and creating is a new level, okay. Instead of evaluation is going to be the 5th level in the revised version, and creating is the highest level of the revised version. You had observed the difference. In the original version, Bloom's used nouns, okay, to define each level, whereas the revised version, Bloom's used verb ing, okay, and remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. The first two, low level thinking skills, and the rest, okay, of the levels are considered high order thinking skills. Okay, now let's take a look at what each of them mean. Okay, Bloom's taxonomy comprises three learning domains. Okay, cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. Okay, but here we talk about cognitive domains. Cognitive means learning, okay, brain or knowledge. Okay, but actually there are three domains: affective, first feeling, okay, and psychomotor, movement. Okay, but here we talk about cognitive domain only. Within each domain, learning can take place at a number of levels, ranging from simple to complex. And Bloom's taxonomy was developed to provide a common language for teachers to discuss and exchange information and learning and assessment methods. Okay, we can use Bloom's taxonomy, okay, when we design instructional activities, as well as when we assess our students. Specific learning outcomes can be derived from the taxonomy, though it is most commonly used to assess learning on a variety of cognitive levels. Okay. Okay, this is a summary of, okay, the Bloom's taxonomy from, between original version to the revised version. Okay, this is a clear a picture, okay, between the two, comparison between the old one in 1956 and the revised taxonomy in 2001. Okay. Okay, what does knowledge mean? Knowledge means to recall, to remember something. Okay, we give, for example, give a definition of something. This question is very basic. When you ask students, please define global warming, please define something. Okay, this is very basic. It requires, okay, it's not very demanding, okay, to answer this question. Forming questions which ask for facts to be recalled is a type of thinking often classified as knowledge. At this level of thought, the learner shows in some basic way knowledge of some basics. Questions often start with the words such as who, what, when, or where. You can see that, okay, question with why, okay, is not, okay, in this level. The learner may be asked to match, list, recall, underline the terms, okay, that means something like that, okay. So at the knowledge level, it is easy to decide whether an answer is correct or incorrect. So the keywords for knowledge level, okay, are, okay, who, what, why, when, which. Why is used when the answer or the information is presented in the reading text. Okay, normally, okay, we don't ask the question beginning with why for knowledge level. And the keywords for this level is, for example, choose, find, how, define, show, spell, list, match, name, tell, recall, select, and label. This okay, keywords are considered, okay, to be used, okay, with the knowledge level based on Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, the next step is comprehension. Okay, comprehension means understanding something. It describes the relationship between motivation and language learning. At this level of thinking, it shows that you understand what you have heard or read. Okay, the questions at this level ask the learner to restate something, or to rewrite something, or to give an example, to illustrate, to define, to summarize, or otherwise prove that the knowledge or basic facts have become internalized. So the main idea questions as well as vocabulary questions which ask you to define or use the word are at the comprehension level. Many teachers and students misunderstand that when we ask main idea question. We think that this is a difficult question, but actually this is only at a low level thinking skill or level. Okay, application, okay, the use. Application level of thinking asks that knowledge be used in some way, somehow, okay? The question may ask you to organize your facts, to construct some model, draw or paint an example, or collect data from reading or data, and or demonstrate or dramatize an event. Application, okay? Application means, for example, application of a rule or principle. For example, if you have fully inflated basketball and add more air, what is the effect on pressure inside the ball? This one situation, okay, that is at application level. So this is quite difficult. This question is quite difficult. So you have to apply, okay, a rule or principle in a new situation. And the keywords for application, okay, sorry, something wrong here. Okay, let's move on. Analysis, okay. Analysis means to break an idea into different parts, okay, and we have to describe the relationships. The analysis level asks the learner to examine the facts, classify, survey, experiment, categorize, or explore. For example, a list of problems faced by characters in a reading is analysis. For example, when you ask them to read, okay, a story, and then you ask them to analyze the problems of characters presented in the story. Okay, this kind of the questions at analysis level. Analysis questions can include take apart, analyze, categorize, compare, contrast, subdivide, classify, or outline. Okay, so the keywords for analysis level are, okay, analyze, categorize, classify, compare, contrast, discover, divide, examine, inspect, simplify, survey, take part in, test for, distinguish, list, this, okay, give, distinguish, okay, and theme, relationships, function, motive, inference, blah, blah, blah. So these are the keywords for analysis level. And the next level is synthesis. This means to put the parts together to form a new whole, synthesize or synthesis. This is very difficult, make something new, okay? The synthesis level of thinking asks your mind to play around with new information and form new images. The knowledge you received combines with what you already have to make a new connection. For some process words for synthesis are imagine, combine, role play, compose, invent, predict, create, design, adapt, and develop. So these are some examples of the keywords for synthesis. I think you can take a look by yourself on the screen. And the last one, evaluation. I'm talking about the old version of Bloom taxonomy, okay? Evaluation means to make judgment about materials and methods. The evaluation level of thinking asks that you judge according to some standard. This is the most difficult question, the highest level, okay? When you ask students to judge something, okay, what they think about, okay, they have to be able to give good reasons to defend their response. This is called evaluation. There is no right or wrong answer, but students have to defend why they think that way. A question can ask you to identify an important criterion to complete a task, or ask that you rate something based upon a predetermined criteria. For example, okay, when suppose you submit a research article, okay, to a journal, And that journal will ask 3 reviewers to rate your manuscript. Okay, so reviewers require, okay, a lot of thinking, okay, in order to judge whether your manuscript is appropriate to be published in that journal. So this at evaluation. To apply at this level in the classroom, okay, you may ask students, okay, what they think about, what is their opinion. Okay, these are common questions, okay, that promote evaluation level. These are the keywords, okay, for evaluation. Award, okay, choose, conclude, criticize, okay, this is quite common. Decide, determine, okay, dispute, evaluate, justify, measure, compare. Okay, so you can, okay, study, okay, this screen, okay, by yourself. Okay, okay, นะครับ how we can use Bloom taxonomy in the classroom. Number one, okay, to use Bloom taxonomy, we have to use that, we have to know the action verbs to inform your learning intentions, right? And we have to use Bloom style questions to prompt deeper and critical thinking. What does this mean? Suppose you teach a critical reading course, okay? But your questions, your test questions contain the questions at knowledge, comprehension levels more than 80%. That will not match the course objectives, because in the critical reading course, you should promote students to think or to read more critically. So the questions that you should ask should fall into at least application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation levels. So by using Bloom taxonomy, okay, we can decide appropriate questions, okay, to prompt, okay, to promote deeper and critical thinking skills more effectively. And we use Bloom's taxonomy to differentiate, okay, our lessons, okay, which ones are easy, which ones are difficult. So Bloom's taxonomy helps us to understand the difficulty levels of different questions. Teachers should ask different questions with different difficulty levels, keeping in mind of the nature and focus of the course. If we teach a course that focuses on critical thinking skills, for example, as I mentioned, a course in critical reading, we should ask more thought-provoking questions than simple ones. At the same time, when we assess the students' learning outcomes, more high-level thinking questions should be asked in a course that promotes critical thinking skills, right? Thus, Bloom's taxonomy provides guidelines for us to ask questions with different levels of difficulty. It also helps us to recognize which questions are easy and which questions are difficult. So this is very useful, okay, about the concept of Bloom's taxonomy. So, okay, I have finished Bloom's taxonomy, and I'd like to move on, okay, to innovative teaching techniques that promote critical thinking skill. The one that I like to talk about is question-answer relationship, or QAR. Okay, the question-answer relationship, or QAR strategy, helps students understand different types of questions. By learning that the answers to some questions are right there, okay, in the text, that some answers require reader to think and search, and that some answers can only be answered on my own. Students recognize that they must first consider the question before developing an answer. So in QAR, okay, there are 4 different types of questions. The first one is write that question. The second one, think and search question. The third one, on my own question. And the fourth one is author and me, okay, which I will explain later. Why using QAR? Because QAR can improve students' reading comprehension. And it teaches students how to ask questions about their reading and where to find the answers to them. And it also helps students to think about the text they are reading and beyond it too. And most importantly, it inspires them to think creatively and work cooperatively while challenging them to use higher level thinking skills. How to use QAR? Okay, number one, teacher explain to students that there are 4 types of questions they will encounter. Okay, and then define each type of question and give an example. 4 types of questions are examined in QAR. Okay, the first one, write their questions. This means literal questions, okay, whose answers can be found in the text. Suppose you have a reading passage for students to read, and if you ask, write their questions, that means student can find the answer right away, okay, in the text. This is very easy question. Often the words used in the question are the same words found in the text. Okay, the first one, write their question, easy to answer. Students can find the answer in the reading text very easily. A more difficult question is think and search questions. This means answers are gathered from several parts of the text and put together to make meaning. Okay, students, okay, when you ask think and search question, it requires students to search for information in different places presented in the text, and they can answer the question. It requires a little bit more effort to answer think and search questions, okay? And for the next one, author and you. These questions are based on information provided in the text, but the student is required to relate it to their own experience. To be able to answer author and you question, students have to use their own experience to answer them as well. Okay, so a little bit harder or more difficult than the think and search questions. Although the answer does not lie directly in the text, the student must have read it in order to answer the question. For this type of question, it requires students to read the text carefully, okay, plus add their own experience to answer this kind of question. And the last type of question is on my own. Okay, for these questions, okay, this one do not require the student to have read the passage. He or she must use their background or prior knowledge to answer the question. For example, what do you think about this passage? Do you like it? Something like that, okay? You can see the big picture of what I'm trying to present to you, right? Okay, this example for QAR strategy. When you have a passage for students to read, you should try to ask questions with different levels, okay? For the write there questions, the answer can be found very easily, okay? In the reading text, the answer is right there. But for think and search, okay, the answer is in the story, but you have to search for it on different pages, on different places, before you can answer the questions. For example, summarize the passage. What caused blah, blah, blah. Compare, contrast, okay? And for author and you, you use your schema. Schema means background knowledge, and make an inference using the story. This is more difficult. Keywords, predict what will happen. What is the main idea of? What could be another title for this passage? Why did the author write blah, blah, blah? Okay, these are the questions at this level, very difficult. And the most difficult one, okay, on my own, connect with your own schema or experience. You don't have to rely on the text. Use your schema and tell your opinion, okay? This question normally deals with opinion. Have you ever, or how would you feel if, okay? So this is a summary of QAR strategy. Teacher should try, okay, to ask questions at different levels, beginning with right there, moving to think and search, and then author and you, and finally on my own. Okay, this is the most difficult question. So questioning technique is very important to promote critical thinking, and I think it can be easily implemented. Okay, it is easy to use and it is very practical and very useful. Okay, now okay, I'm going to break you into different groups. Okay, there will be an activity, okay, for you to analyze the QAR questions. You'll be given, okay, a handout, okay, and then there will be 6 questions, and you have to consider each question and decide each question whether it should be at which level based on QAR strategy. Okay. So now take a look at the 6 questions, okay, carefully and decide in your group. Question number 1, is it the question at write that question, or is the question at think and search level, or author and you, or on my own levels? Okay. 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 There will be, okay, Kun Mim, okay, please help break the participants into different sessions, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Doctor. That was a really great presentation. So soon our tech team is preparing the breakout room for all of us to go into a small group from 6 to 8 people.
And you'll be giving them a handout, right?
Yes, we will be placing the handout in the breakout room. Sheena, shall we start manually assigning?
Okay, welcome everyone back from the breakout. We hope that you get to exchange your thoughts and comments and idea with your peers. I knew that some of you are not teaching English and you're still trying to think of different way of learning about what we are talking today, the Bloom's taxonomy and also the QAR question. Yes, some of you may not be able to answer some of the question. May I invite Dr. Pragasit to share some thoughts from him about the activity that we just did.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kap. Thank you very much โอเคนะครับ some of you cannot answer because you have some technical problems. Okay, anyway, these are the questions that allow you to be able to analyze which one is easy, which one is difficult. Okay, questioning techniques are very important for teachers when we ask students. Okay, in the classroom we use questions as prompts to measure whether our students understand the lessons or not, as well as we ask questions when we test them. So they are very important. As I told you, from many research studies, it shows that many questions are at low level thinking skills, whereas critical thinking skills should be promoted. So this in contrast, okay, practice with principle. So it is important to know. And I have I provided two concepts that deal with different level of thinking. The first one is Bloom taxonomy, and the second one is QAR techniques. Okay, and I asked you to do one group activity, and I don't think that it is too difficult for you. Okay, you don't need to answer the questions, but consider whether each question should be under right there, think and search, on my own, or author and me. Okay, the main point, the main purpose is for you to be able to decide whether this question is easy or difficult. All right, if they fall into right there, okay, it's very easy. If it falls into think and search, it's a little bit more difficult. But if the questions fall into on my own and author and me, more difficult. Okay, so something for teacher to recognize. Okay, the first one, what was the name of the elementary school that Ruby Bridges attended? Suppose we only look at the question. We are sure that we can find the name of the school in one place of the passage. So this one should be under right there question, right? So this one is considered easy. Okay, it doesn't promote critical thinking skill, but it doesn't mean that it is not useful. Okay, every question is useful, but we have to know the purpose of asking different questions. For this question, we would like students to understand some minor details of the passage being read, right? So this one is easy. Number two, why didn't the city state police help Ruby on her first day of school? Why not? For this question, do you think it should be under right there or think and search? This one, even though it is a why question, it depends on the passage. If the information is mentioned in one sentence in a passage, then this question is under right there. But if we have to find the answer from different places in the passage, then it is under think and search. So it depends on the passage that we read. But however, this is still an easy question. Either it is right there or think and search, because the answer is still found in the book. So this also easy. Question number 3. Why do you think that Ruby did not say anything to the angry crowd? Why do you think? Why do you think? This is what you think, right? So this one should be under on my own. Difficult. Why do you think? Because you can answer anything, but you have to give a good reason, to defend, to support your answer. This is a good question, that promotes critical thinking skills. Also, number 4, why do you think Ruby was so courageous? Why? Why? You have to find some evidence, okay, from the passage to answer this question. So I think that this one, okay, is also on my own. Why do you think she is so courageous? Also difficult. Number 5, what do you think you would have done if you were Ruby Bridges? Okay, what do you think you would have done? You could have done many things, right? But you have to defend the answer. Okay, it's still difficult. So question 3, 4, 5 difficult questions. What about number 5, number 6, the last one? What do you think the author wants you to learn from this story? So this one involves the author. Okay, so it is under author and you or author and me. Okay, still difficult. Okay, for the questions under on my own and author and me. Okay, that means you have to think. Okay, some information from your brain, from your head. It's not only from the book. Okay, it's also from your head. So these two levels are regarded, okay, difficult questions. Then to promote critical thinking skills, okay, question 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, are the questions that require students to think, okay, more critically in order to answer the question. All right. Have you got the right answers? Okay นะครับ from this activity นะครับ in conclusion questioning techniques are important because they can stimulate learning and develop the potential of students to think, drive to clear ideas, stir the imagination, and incentive to act. They are also one of the ways teachers help students develop their knowledge more effectively. Educational research suggests that questioning practice may improve students' motivation, independent thinking, and the ability to communicate complex ideas. The ability to ask questions is one of the most important lifelong learning skills a student can acquire in the course of their education. In today's talk, I hope that you find the knowledge about Bloom's taxonomy, okay, 6 levels, okay. The first 2, okay, starting from knowledge and comprehension are considered low-level thinking skills, whereas application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation are considered high-order thinking skills. And I also gave you the keywords for each level, okay. You can make use of them when you ask questions to your students or when you ask questions in the exams, okay, as well as QAR, question answer relationship, okay. In this technique, okay, it offers 4 types of questions, okay, that we just discussed. So question technique is very important, okay, and there are many research studies, okay, exploring the effects of questioning strategies, okay, and they have proven to be very effective. Don't overlook something that is small, okay. Small thing can be very effective and it is very practical. So ask the right questions. If we recognize which ones are difficult, which ones are easy, and we have the criteria, okay, to decide on, that will help us as teachers to decide, okay, activities, the questions, and the test items, okay, more effectively. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope that you find my session, okay, useful to some extent ครับ Over to you ครับคุณหมิมครับ
Wow, can everyone give a big round of virtual applause to Dr. Pragasit? That was an amazing session, and Dr. Pragasit may not see the chat, but it's overwhelmingly positive, and most of the, I believe all of the teacher really want the presentation, and we will share that later. So yes,
Wonderful.
that was really good. Okay, so before we close, so I would like to thank Dr. Pragasit for this exciting session and being a wonderful guest speaker. We appreciate all of the participant learning as well. It's such an enthusiastic crowd, and your insightful participation and small group work was really great. We hope that you all walk away more empowered. Now, I want to encourage everyone to please attend our session tomorrow. For today, please share with us your thoughts. So I am sharing the link for us to give the evaluation for today's session. If you find it helpful, it can help us to organize this kind of thing again in the future. And please remember that completing 3 sessions and the survey on Wednesday. So tomorrow, please come back. You will be qualified to get the certificate for participation for this international speaker series. Please take a few minutes to complete the survey through the link. We will play music. We will play some music while you are doing this evaluation. Thank you so much. We conclude our session for today.
Excuse me, ma'am. May I speak a word?
Yes.
Ma'am, I couldn't participate yesterday, ma'am. So will I get the certificate?
Yes. If I'm hearing, it's about certificate. So please come join us for tomorrow again at the end of the day. After you complete the evaluation, you will be able to tick the box that say that you are interested in certificate, and we will share it out to the participant who attend 3 days webinar around mid-November. Yes, now the link is being shared for the evaluation, please.
And everybody click on the link that is there on the chat and fill up the evaluation and your attendance. If we have all 3 evaluations for the 3 days, we will be able to give you the certificate after the 15th of November. So go ahead and click on that and fill it.
លោកគ្រូអ្នកគ្រូ link គេដាក់ទម្លាក់ឲ្យនៅលើហ្នឹងលោកគ្រូអាច click យក download យកឯកសារ